You guys said that you didn't really understand the lyric poetry worksheet, which I understand because the worksheet itself doesn't explain it very well. And looking in perspectives, they don't really talk about it too much. Lyric poetry is the kind of poetry that is usually first person, so one person speaking in their own voice, and they're expressing something really intense and emotional. So these three poems that they have in Unit 4, People on the Planet, Turtle Watchers, Nature is What We See, and The Sparrow, are about one person's reaction to nature and how it gives them intense feelings. So when you look at the worksheet, it tells you a little bit at the beginning. It usually has personal insight, feeling, or thought in a first-person voice. That means the person is talking and they're expressing their emotions. It's just like a song, a love song or something like that, or even a rap song where somebody's angry. In this case, these are people feeling inspired by nature. Now, the speaker's point of view isn't necessarily the view of the poet. What they mean by that is the poet could be pretending to be someone else and speaking in that person's voice. The lyric poem doesn't have to be true to the person who's writing. It has to be representing the person who is speaking, like the voice of the narrator in the lyric poem. So when you look at the worksheet, it asks you to give different examples from each of those three poems. The first one is the thought, feeling, or insight conveyed by the speaker. So you read the poem, Turtle Watchers, and you look at the words that they use, and you think about the feeling that they're trying to make the reader feel. So, Old Mother at water's edge used to bow down to them, the turtles coming in from the sea. Their many eggs, their eyes streaming water like tears. I'd see it all, Old Mother as if in prayer. The turtles called back to where they were born, the hungry watchers standing at the edge of trees, hoping for food when darkness gathers. Years later, swimming in murky waters, a sea turtle swam beside me, both of us watching as if clasped together in the lineage of the same world, the sweep of the same current, even rising for breath of air at the same time, still watching. My ancestors call them the keepers of doors, and the shore a realm to other worlds. Both ways and water moves, the deep shift of life back to birth and before, as if there is a path where beings truly meet, as if I am rounding the human corners. So whoever is speaking here, not necessarily the writer, Linda Hogan, but the person speaking is showing the feeling that they are connected to these turtles. And you can see that in the language that she uses. And she's also admiring the similarities between how she sees the turtles and humans. So she calls the big turtle Old Mother, as if she had human qualities. Their many eggs, their eyes streaming water like tears. So Old Mother as if in prayer. You can see that the speaker sees the turtles as if they have human characteristics, the hungry watchers standing at the edge of the trees. So she's trying to talk about the communality that we have with these animals. And I think that she's trying to convey that to other people so that we can feel that connection as well. The first person voice, you can find that very easily wherever she says I or me or my. So down in line 18, my ancestors call them. And then in line 25, as if I am rounding the human corners, so that you can see that she's talking. Also in chapter 6, I would see it all. Structure, loose, formal, none. That means, does it look like it has a very strict structure in the poem? So it could be 5 lines, 5 lines, 5 lines, like different stanzas. That's what they're called when they're divided up into very strict sections. This one is not. It has 10 lines, and then it has like 5, 5, 5, but really it doesn't break the sentences into exact lines. And the rhythm isn't so structured. So no, it doesn't have a very structured format. I would say almost none, because the rhythm, you guys know what rhythm is because you listen to music, isn't there, and there is no rhyme either because that's not the priority. So you have structure, regular rhythm, and rhyme. And then down at the bottom, free verse, you can give examples of the free verse. She's just writing. Years later, swimming in murky waters, a sea turtle swam beside me, both of us watching as if clasped together. It's just talking. Lyric poem. Why is it a lyric poem? Because it's short. That's one thing, because it's not a narrative poem or a epic poem, but she's also expressing her emotions, and she's first person, speaking from first person. That's mostly what I would find about that, to call it a lyric poem. Now you can look at the other two, Nature is What We See, which is a poem by Emily Dickinson. You can look at some information like the audio summary in Perspectives to figure out or to find out a little bit more about the writers before you read the poems if you want to. Emily Dickinson is kind of an interesting person. She was kind of a hermit. She just stayed in her house and wrote poetry all the time. And I think that they found hundreds or thousands of poems after she died. Some of you guys would have liked to hang out with. And the sparrow. So look at those two, do the same thing. It's not a very difficult worksheet. If you don't get it right, it doesn't matter. The practice is just reading and thinking about it. So good luck. Contact me if you need more help.